and e5. Now we see the purpose of white's strategy. Get doubled pawns, push it forward, and then put the bishop on f3. Welcome to the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. In this matchup, I take a look at Carlsen versus Carlsen and Vachier-Lagrave. Quick player introduction: Magnus Carlsen, 29 years old, from Norway. World number 1. Carlsen and Vachier-Lagrave, the French number 1. World number 5. Best tournament victory was back in 2017, having won the Sinkfield Cup in St. Louis. In this video, I take a look at the only victory. Let's check out this game. Carlsen has white, MVL has black. The game began d4, d5, c4, c6, we have a Slav. e3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop f5, knight f3, e6. A strategy in the Slav: you get your bishop out, then you create a triangle pawn structure. Because of that, white goes for the bishop pair with knight h4. Bishop e4, f3, creating a small weakness. The bishop goes back, bishop d2. White plans to castle queenside quickly. Bishop e7, knight takes g6, and h takes g6. You see this structure often. Black has too many pawns on light squares, limiting the power of white's bishop on f1. Queen b3, queen c7. This queen is attacking the h2 pawn along with the rook on h8, but white ignores it. White can just castle. White's king looks safe on the queen side. Black cannot play rook takes h2. Because take, and queen takes b7, and the rook in the corner will drop. Instead of that, after castle, black took on c4, getting the bishop out, but now playing b5. Another pawn on a light square, chasing the bishop on c4, so white drops it back, and now a6. So once again, another pawn on a light square. The purpose of a6 is to support c5 as a pawn break. Here is the first critical moment. I was listening to the Chess24 commentary. All this has been seen before, 21 games in the Chess24 database. Grandmasters Jan Gustafsson and Danny Dubov mentioned this. The idea here is white can play knight e4. First question, why not e4? Because black can break with c5, and this is quite effective. You don't want to play rook takes h2 here, because e5, and even though white has lost a pawn, white gets some initiative. Take the rook, take, knight moves, and then knight e4. The rook can come to h8 with check. This looks very dangerous for black. After e4, c5. If you play bishop e3, just supporting your center, this actually loses a piece with b4. If you move the knight, then c takes d4 check from the queen on c7. When the king moves, you can take the bishop on e3. So playing e4 allows black to strike with c5, so this is not a good variation. So Carlsen played knight e4. Firstly, what's the idea? It's to discourage c5. So black takes on e4 and then plays c5. But what's the difference now? He's lost a defender to the black king. So black gets c5 in, king b1, just sidestepping. White castles queenside in Slav, but he gets queenside play as well. We see this typical shuffle in the Slav by white. So then white can use the c-file. Rook can go to c1. Knight c6 and e5. Now we see the purpose of white's strategy. Get doubled pawns, push it forward, and then put the bishop on f3. C takes d4. Does it lose a pawn? No. Bishop f3. Grabbing a pawn looks so risky. Black could have just castled. But he took on d4. Bishop f3, planning rook c1. Rook c8, rook c1. Pressure is building. White will take next, so black gets out of the way with queen d7. Queen c2. Now 3 pieces are attacking the c6 knight. So knight goes to a7. This knight defends. The rook on c8. This rook attacks the queen on c2. Maxime saw all of this, but misses white's next move. Pause the video if you want to find a tactical shot. What does white play now? I'll give you 5 seconds. The tactic is queen takes c8 check. When you take with the knight, white can play bishop c6, winning the queen back and having won the exchange. He's won rook for knight. White is now winning. Knight b6, take the queen with check, king takes, take back on d4 and knight d5. Rook for a knight, white is winning. But how to create some open lines? He goes h4. Great move by Carlsen. To open some files, a temporary pawn sack. White wants to infiltrate the position. Rook takes h4 played. Take, take, and rook h1, a rook swing. Bishop e7. What if g5, stopping the rook coming in? Rook h3 is a really cool move, playing g3, planning to trap the bishop. So black moves it, but here, white has a really nice rook swing. He doesn't have to go to h7, he can actually go to f3 to win almost all the kingside pawns. Rook f3 attacking bishop and the pawn on f7, so black takes on d4, take with check, king c6, take on g7, take, and white is winning. Back to the game, rook h1 played, so he retreats it back to e7, rook h7, bishop f8, rook h8, king e7, and king c2. Getting the final piece in the game. In this position, black does not have a good move. What if black just waits? Let's say black does nothing with king e8. How does white win this? King b3. And if king e7, bishop b4 check. You've got to take it, or else you lose the bishop on f8. Take, and the king can just come in, picking up the queenside pawns. Back to the game after king c2, f6, trying to break it up. Take, and rook h7 check. And here black resigned, because when you move the king, rook a7, you will grab the a6 pawn. Bishop e7, rook takes a6 check, king d7. We have 2 versus 1 on the queen side. Rook for knight. White can create a passed pawn on the queen side, and this will be winning. Hence, black had enough. This was the only victory in the match in this online tournament. From the table, you can see Carlsen won 2.5, 1.5. Check out one video here and another video over here. If you enjoyed the show, why not like it and subscribe at the same time? Don't forget to hit that bell to get notified each time I release a new video. If you have any games you want me to cover, then let me know in the comments below. If you really enjoyed the show, consider a small donation. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.